Hi, I'm Bruce Blitz and welcome to Cartoon Doodle Tricks. What are cartoon doodle tricks? Well, you might say that they're the unexpected transformation of a number or a letter or a combination of numbers and letters into finished drawings. Let's do one now and I'll show you. Now I'm going to work with a blue piece of chalk here, which will be different than the marker that I'll use in a second, so you can see the K that will stand out. I'll switch to my marker here. Now let's put a nose in right up top and connect it to that line. And let's put a chin in underneath, and let's put some teeth in that opening. And you can see that there is a laughing guy developing with some hair and some cartoon effects and accessories, and there are little extra doodles around the drawing that sort of help to tell your story and drive your point home. And there he is. Now, the neat thing about cartoon doodle tricks is that most of the drawing was already done just by writing the letter K, which is easy. Now, cartoon doodle tricks are much more too. They can be used to tell a story, as you'll see later, and that's a form of entertainment known as chalk talk. Now, cartoon doodle tricks are a lot of fun for you and I as the cartoonist, and it's fun for others watching because people just love to see a cartoon develop right before their eyes. Also, this is great for exercising your cartooning sense, developing a keen eye, because there are different ways to approach the same assignment, like this. Let's do another K right over here, and you'll see what I mean. Now this time, let's look at it and say that this line here will be for his nose. Put a nostril over there, a big smile, and continue this line around. And put an ear, and a couple eyes. Eyebrows, and some hair. Next, let's talk a little bit about art supplies. Now, I'm working large here on an 18 by 24 pad of ordinary drawing paper. Now, you could use newsprint and it would work just as well. Now, this size is good for like drawing in front of groups of people, like at a school demonstration, cartooning seminar, or a party, because this way everybody would be able to see. Now, as to what you actually draw with, well, it should be in direct relation to the size that you're working. Now, I'm working large here, so I'm using a point on this marker that's very large. You see the kind of line it produces? And everybody can see that real good. Okay, now, if you're working about 9 by 12 or 8.5 by 11, like a pad like this, well, maybe a pen with this kind of point would work just as well. Okay, now also, way back in the old days, before they even invented markers, they used chalks and crayons, just like this. And they worked fabulous too. And I'll show you a quick little cartoon done with a piece of crayon. Draw a quick little bubble-nosed fella here. And the good thing about working like this, if you lay it on its side, look at the neat shading effects you can get. Just let that thing work for you. Maybe a little shadowing under his nose. Okay, now just like with markers, you have to go to the art store and experiment as to which point size and shape that you like best. And when you find something you like, you go with it. Now, before we begin, I'd like to say that if it seems like I'm going too fast at times, I suggest you use the pause button or rewind the tape to see something over again. That's the beauty of learning by video. You refer back to this tape over and over again just as you would a book. And besides, this way we'll get to cover more ground together. All right, I know you're anxious to get started, so let's begin with cartoon letters. Okay, let's begin by going through the alphabet. Now, we won't go through all of the letters, but we'll go through some of the interesting ones. And we'll start with, what else? The letter A. So I'll draw the A right here. And let's see, what can we turn this into? If we make a square right on top of that line that went across, and we even blacken it in, leaving a little white space there, we can make a nose for what else? A bear. Some whiskers, maybe his tongue out, and some eyes right in that area. And here's his ears. And some hair on top. And now be loose and get that real loose look to your work and make some fur coming out. Okay, how did yours come out? All right, you following along with this? Let's move on. Let's do the letter B. Okay. Now, let's see, what can we do for this? I think if we take this part right here and make a smile line. Let's try that. And maybe this could be a nostril for a nose. Maybe in here could be an eye. Another eye right there. And this could be the left side of the face. And right here we'll make an ear. And some hair, maybe in a buzz cut. How's that? And the other ear over there. Now, let's see. We can even make that look like glasses. And sort of help the action a little bit. Yeah, that's kind of cute. Okay, now, cartoon letters don't always have to go into a face of a human. Let's do a C, which is a real quick one, and turn it into a fish. Add a funny cartoon eye over here that would divide that line right in the center, and make an eye at half-mast, and a smile. And let's make the cartoon fish body. And a fin, maybe some bubbles. That's a cartoon effect and accessory. And what else? Maybe some scales. And some motion lines like he's swimming. Yeah, that's kind of cute. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do another cartoon animal. How about take the letter D. D is for what? Dog. So let's draw a dog. Now we do a tape on cartoon animals, and that's great fun. And let's put a smile on that. Maybe his eye. And if you notice, the eye is outside these shapes, and that's okay. In cartooning, everything doesn't have to be perfect. And that could be his ear. And you could draw his body if you wanted over here, and add as much detail as you like. That's always up to you. This is your drawing. Have fun with it. Because remember, that is the first rule of drawing or cartooning, just to have fun with it. So let's move on. Okay. Oh, this is a cute one. We'll take a G and turn it into an angry guy. Put a nose on that part right there. And maybe extend that line a little bit. And have an eye with an eyebrow facing down, with his ear over here, and some cartoon hair. Look at that. It goes right off. Have fun with it. The more straggly, the better. What else? Okay, some cartoon effects and accessories, like perspiration, maybe some wavy lines to show that he's steaming mad. And there it is. And maybe even some lines next to each other to look like his cheeks are red. Okay, let's do another one. Okay, next let's do the letter H. And I'm going to make it. Now, there's nothing wrong, by the way, with finagling, sort of tailor-making your letters when you do them for people to fit your needs better. Now, I'm going to make a nose up there, and because I say that because I extended that a little extra to make it look like a mustache. And let's make a big smile and some eyes. And you don't need a lot of detail for some of these sketches. And the hair, well, you can change the hair. Let's give him wavy hair this time. And that's a cute one for an H. Let's do another one. How about the letter P? And again, we'll go back to a cartoon animal on this one. And for this part right here, let's make it into a beak for a parrot. Have the parrot looking at us. Put the eyeball over there. Eyebrow. Some funny feathers sticking up in the front. And connect this here, put some wings in, and maybe his feet, which are nothing more than a few loops like that, and you put those lines in them like the way they look, and he's sitting on a perch. That's kind of cute. Okay, maybe a couple of tail feathers. How's that? I like that. and a V, a script V, like that, and we'll turn it into maybe an Indian chief. Have his eyes in a U shape as well. And there it is. A good way to practice is to go through the entire alphabet and come up with as many sketches as you can for each letter. Okay, now let's make it a little trickier and combine a few letters to make some words and names and see what we can do with that. First, we'll start with the name Joe, and we'll do it in script. J-O-E. Okay, let's darken in this part, this whole top part of the J, and turn it into a patch. And let's make this O into an I. Not a letter I, a real I. And let's give him an eyebrow. And let's make a real sinister type smile there, because we're going to make a pirate. Put an ear over here and an earring, of course. He's a pirate. And a big swooping line like that to make the bandana on his head, where it ties. Maybe some spots, polka dots. And the rest of his face is over here. And some stubbles. He looks like a kind pirate, but he's a pirate. Okay, let's move on. How about the name Al? A-L. And you can do this. You can ask people their names. Of course, it's better the shorter the name, the easier it's going to be for you. Add a nose over there, and a smile. And this line here could serve as his eyelid that is half closed. And an eyebrow up there. Continue this around to where the L is, and draw the ear that's sort of tucked underneath the L as if it was hair coming over the ear. And then just continue over, and you've got it. Okay, let's do another one. How about the word, us, U-S. And we can turn that into a strict lady. Maybe a schoolmarm type. That can become her hair. Continue this line around, some bangs, and a bun. And that's a cute sketch. Okay, now let's take the word joy, J-O-Y, and turn it into something that gives you joy, which is a clown. Make that part the clown hat. And let's continue this line down to make the nose and a smile. And this part here could be like his hair is curling up in the back, and that's like makeup on his eyes, his cheek. And let's continue this around to go underneath the hat. And there it is. Okay, now this next drawing is a little gag sketch that you can pull on your friends, and you have the word conclusion written down, and instead of actually turning it into something like they may expect, you just put a nose on it, a smile around this word, and some eyes, and a face, and just tell your friends you just drew your own conclusion. Okay, let's move on to our next segment, and it's something you can definitely count on, numbers. Let's start with a couple single-digit numbers, and let's start with a 3. Okay, this is an easy one to do. You make a circle right over here, and let's draw an eye in there, and let's have him looking at us. Remember, leave that little white space right there, because that creates a little interest, a little highlight or a shine. Well, that'll be his nose, and that'll be his mouth. Let's have him talking. And for this part that's sticking out like that, let's make it like a beard. And here's his ear, and this is his hair kind of flopping over as well. And there he is. Put some stubbles there, and he could be saying, from 3 to me. Okay, let's do another one. Next, let's take the number 5. And this is a cute one, and very easy to do. With a couple lines, you can turn this right into a chef. Put a nose there, and a couple ears, and let's give him a mustache. Let's take it to the max, make some fun with it. And this top part here is the chef's hat. Maybe his neckerchief. Okay, let's do another one. How about let's add a symbol this time. The number 6, and let's make it 6%. Okay, first we'll make the 6 into his nose, and this can be his eye. And let's make his mouth. And this comes right around to his ear. This could be a long sideburn. And there's the rest of him. Okay, let's do another 6. And this time, let's do something totally different than a face. There's the 6. Let's put a face in here though, but we're going to have the whole body, and we're going to have it in a pose that you would never expect, and that is a little kid doing a handstand. Just like that. And don't forget those cartoon effects and accessories. He might be sweating a little bit because he's exerting himself, and also maybe some lines like this look like he's trying to keep his balance. Okay, let's do a combination of a couple letters now. Let's do an addition problem, like 5 plus 6 totals up to 11. Okay, from here we'll put some eyes in this space right here, and some lines like that for some wrinkles on the forehead, and let's just enclose this whole thing, and that can be his ear. Continue that line up, some hair on the side, and let's just close this up as well, and we've got a man with a toothy grin. Okay, this next one is fun. Let's work with a fraction this time, and the fraction will be 2/3. And from 2/3, we turn it into the symbol for our great country, old Uncle Sam. We'll make the 3 into a beard by kind of straggling it like that, and let's enclose the rest. And we've got the makings of a great face here, some hair coming out the side, because Uncle Sam's got long hair. And now for the hat. Now watch this. You make a figure 8 on its side, and let's give him a big old top hat. And there he is, Uncle Sam. Now I'm even going to throw in a little color to this one, with a little light peach for his face. Maybe some blue, and I'm working with colored chalks here. A little bit of blue in here because we need the obvious colors of red, white, and blue. Now some red for some stripes. Maybe even a little for his cheeks. And there he is. This next segment is a lot of fun, and it deals with a technique that goes back many years known as chalk talk. What is it? It's telling a story, joke, poem while drawing along, and the drawings cleverly help to tell the story. Now, this used to be a form of entertainment on stage, and it's still used at sales meetings, and teachers find it an effective way to get a lesson across in class in an interesting way. Now, there are a few rules to follow to make your presentation work well, though. First, stand aside and let the audience see what you're doing. Next, make sweeping, bold strokes. Avoid light, sketchy lines. Also, try to build to a surprise ending. Okay? Let's do our first sketch now in chalk talk. Now try to draw along with me on this, and it's kind of important that the lines are drawn just so, or it won't work, and you'll see what I mean by that in a second. Let's give a fellow a long beard. First we drew his nose, and his tooth kind of coming out like that, and let's draw his eye. Now this fella, since he was a little guy, loved boats and ships, and he went on to live his life at sea. He loved the sea. Some hair. And he always wore this hat. And he spent his whole life at sea. And I guess you could say, now there's the fella that after a while, he and the sea became one. Okay, now that you can see them side by side, you can see how this drawing works. Okay, now let's draw a picture of a bee. Right here, that'll be his head. This will be his body. And if he's a bee, he's going to have a black stripe on his body. Let's put that there. And we'll fill that in. And that's because that's going to be pertinent to the rest of the drawing, and you'll see that in a second. Okay, now let's put his antenna in. 1, 2, a couple more. What else? Okay, how about some big wings? And a couple diagonal lines like this sort of make it look shiny, like you can see through them. Okay, what else? That's about it. Now there's the bee. Now, let's take this another step further and turn it into something else as a surprise ending. Now, right here, let's just take these lines, add them to the bee's body, and it can become a mouth that's open, screaming. And let's draw the rest of a head. And it looks like this bee has landed right on this fellow's nose. Now you can see where you could develop a little storyline around this. You can see how this kind of evolved. See that? Now this next drawing never fails to amuse and amaze people. Now follow along with me, but try to follow along exactly with what I'm doing, or the sketch won't work. Okay, right about here, let's draw a facial outline, and we're going to draw a pretty woman. And right there, we'll make a real small little nose for her. And let me see, how about her eyes? Try to draw the eyes just like that if you can, like 2 footballs with the pupils right in the center. And let's leave that little white space again. Okay, now let's give her some eyebrows. Maybe even some eyelashes. Okay, now for her mouth. Just like that. And we'll make her lips. And we're not going to connect those lines, and you see why later. Okay, she'll have a curl right in her forehead. And another curl up there. And let's give her some fluffy hair. Yeah, that's shaping up nice. Now let's put her ears in. Okay, now, if we turn this drawing over, as we did before, you'll see a real neat effect. The pretty woman turned into a nice old man, just like that. Okay, now you can see these 2 drawings side by side and see how that works as well. Okay, now this next sketch is kind of cute, and it deals a little bit with magic. And you can develop a nice little magic theme with it. So let's draw a magician's hat. And of course, and there's the brim. And let's even make the rest of the hat here. And we'll leave that little white space for like a shine on the hat, like it's a satin hat. Okay, now what comes out of a magic hat? What else? A rabbit. And there's the rabbit's body. And here's his leg, his one leg. And here's his other leg kind of coming out of the other side. And here's his tail. Okay, and when he comes out, of course, there's smoke. And we can even put in the rabbit's eyes, nose, and mouth. Now, if you turn this sketch over with a little bit of alteration, you've got the actual magician. And you put his shoulders in with his jacket, and there he is. Now, you've heard of the great Houdini? This is the great upside downy. Okay, now if you see these two sketches side by side, you can see how that happened as well. Now, with a little practice, there's no reason why you can't turn your bright ideas into chalk talk stories. Okay, next up, here's how to add some movement to your drawings. And we'll start with make Grandpa smile, or frown, whatever, you'll see in a second. Start with two eyes, which are nothing more than circles, and a couple more circles inside. And leave that white space. And how about a nose right underneath the eyes? And for the mouth. Now for the mouth, make a line directly across, not smiling or frowning, and a line underneath for his lower lip. Same thing with the eyebrows. Not up or down, just like that. Out here, let's make his facial outline. And let's give him a beard maybe. And an ear, one there, and some funny hair coming out the side. Almost like a clown. And his head, let's just make it bald with a little funny hair on top. Okay, now, after you've drawn the face, and I've done one here, fold it on each side of his mouth. You make a fold this way, right to where the mouth ends, and do the same thing on the other side, right where the mouth ends, same place. And then after you've done that, kind of fold them together. So from the side, it sort of looks like an M. And after you've done that, here's a neat effect. You hold the paper looking straight into his eyes, like this, and here's what it'll look like for you. Tilt it forward, back, and he smiles and frowns by looking directly into his eyes and holding it up right in front of you. People love this one too. Now here's another interesting effect that you can do to animate your drawings. All right, here's how you create this neat effect. You draw a picture of a fella eating spaghetti, and if you need help, have an adult help you, and cut a rectangle right out of the paper from the fork down to his mouth, and on a separate piece of paper, make spaghetti. You just make some straggly lines going every which way with your black marker, and then go over it maybe with some red. Slide it from behind all the way down, and you get the effect that you saw before. Well, that's all we have time for. And if these cartoon doodle tricks look like fun, it's because they are. And remember, practice is the key to becoming a good cartoonist. And a positive attitude. Because success comes in cans and failure in can'ts. And if you've enjoyed this video, I'm sure you'll enjoy my other videos as well, like how to draw Blitz cartoons, learn basic drawing, draw your own comic strips, and how to draw cartoon animals. Well, thanks for being with me, and keep on cartooning.